Hey folks, MJB here. Glad you've tuned in to another edition of my crypto news, where I cover recent news and events in the crypto world that I find most relevant and important that I feel you would like to know about. Please note, none of this is financial advice. I'm simply sharing my opinions and thoughts. Obviously, do your own research before investing in anything. Certainly don't invest any monies you can't afford to lose. Always ask questions. You could feel free to leave comments down below, and I'll stay on top of the chat down below. Please go ahead and click that like, that's the thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button and the notification bell. Here we go. First of all, I want to get into the Ripple SEC case. The SEC has finally handed over the famous Bill Hinman documents. After like 6+ court orders, they were finally obtained. Ripple finally got copies of those internal SEC emails from his famous 2018 speech. This is a huge victory for Ripple. I'm not sure how close you folks are following the Ripple case, but the bottom line is you're rooting for Ripple to win. It's going to be huge. It's not a security. They're going to prove why it's not a security. What are these emails going to reveal? I mean, who knows? But they wouldn't hand these things over after, like I said, over 6 requests, and they finally got a hold of them. So then there was recently some follow-up. There was a private meeting that occurred, a closed-door meeting. I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm hoping that a settlement comes sooner rather than later, or that the judge is able to make a ruling again sooner rather than later. There's a ton of institutional money just waiting on the sidelines, but again, they can't get involved until their investments are considered legal, and they're not going to be violating any type of laws or anything like that. So this is just one more step as we hopefully get closer to the resolution of this matter. I've mentioned a bunch of times in my prior videos, if you hold any of the ISO 222s, Quant, XRP, XLM, Algo, IOTA, any one of those, they're all going to boom if Ripple wins this case. So I've got my bags packed. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously not financial advice. It's just my opinion, but I think those are certainly good ones to hold. Hopefully they'll boom. Next up here, let's see, what do I got on my list? Twitter. I just saw right now, Twitter recently announced that they're in the process. Well, as you know, Twitter is in the process of being purchased by Elon Musk. We all know about that, how it went through, it didn't go through, they're now going to proceed, whatever. But we know that Elon Musk is very pro-crypto, which is a great thing. Well, now it was just announced that Twitter is going to reportedly be developing its own wallet with support for crypto deposits and withdrawals. Now, this is huge because it's just one more step to introduce people to crypto, even if it's the simplest transaction, like just acquiring Bitcoin, all the way to the most, complex transactions like staking Hex or sacrificing for PulseX or staking your Matic or whatever. It could be a simple transaction to the most complex, but this is the first step into getting that many more people introduced. So I think it's a great thing, and I hope it continues to move forward. What else we got here in my handy-dandy notes? Lord of the Rings NFT collection launching as the movie studios push for digital collectibles. So there's going to be several editions. There's going to be future launches coming from Warner Brothers. Also, this is just the first step, towards mass adoption of this type of matter. Other developments from other popular studios are expected to join the NFT movement, including, Star Wars, Marvel, DC Comics. When I grew up as a kid, baseball cards is what I collected. You physically, held them in your hand. They were tangible. They had condition. You could trade them, that type of stuff. Nowadays, it's digital collectibles. So that's not something that I'm necessarily into, but the folks that are, 40 years younger than me that are into that type of stuff, they enjoy that. And it's basically the same thing, that they might own 1 of 10 Star Wars NFT collectible NFTs or what have you. Again, it's something that it's tough for me to comprehend because I'm still trying to grasp it. Because again, I grew up with baseball cards, Pokemon and all those types of things, Beanie Babies, whatever. Those are the things we grew up with, the older folks. But this is now the new movement. And if you can get some rare, Marvel NFT 1 of 100 collectible, whatever, I guess that's the new thing. Hopefully it's going to be great. I'm obviously for it because it just shows more mass adoption for crypto in general and NFTs, so that can't be a bad thing. But I just wanted to point this out that if Lord of the Rings is going to do it, and if it's successful, like I said, that could have other movie studios move into the same type of genre. Like I said, with Star Wars and Marvel and what have you. Let's see what else I got on my list here. Decentraland. They're an ETH-based metaverse platform. They announced the Metaverse Music Festival 2022, and it's going to be an event based in the metaverse featuring various artists. The event is sponsored by the crypto exchange Kraken, and it's going to be held on November 10th to November 13th, and it's going to have over 100 artists participating, including Soulja Boy, Ozzy, Dylan Francis. So, like I said, 100 artists, some very notable. It's going to be held on their Otherworld CryptoPunk landscape with 15 unique stages, and it's free for all to visit. I don't know a lot about this metaverse stuff. I'm still looking into it, but I think you go to decentraland.org, you click that Start Exploring button. If you don't have your own avatar, you can create one, and then you can start going into these different areas and, again, attend this concert, for example, which sounds like a pretty cool thing. So just bringing it to your attention. But the fact that these notable artists are involved and taking part in such an event, that's pretty huge. Because, again, I'm just trying to point out that how it's growing and mass adoption and how it's becoming the norm, not something odd or one of a kind. So, I don't know. Pretty neat stuff here. What else do we got here? All right, how about some bad news? Stable funds. They're an AI trading bot. So you invest in it, and their AI trading bots make transactions like all day long, and they were paying 1.5% daily yield. And this has been going on for some time. And I heard about it, and I even considered participating, and for whatever reason I didn't. Well, I'm glad I didn't, because just today they announced that the withdrawals are now paused. No more staking. It's currently right now just a wallet, basically just similar to your MetaMask wallet. And the word is everybody's confused. They're wondering if refunds are going to actually be issued, or refunds of just your deposit, not any amounts that you've accrued or earned in yield. Who knows? Again, I don't have any interest in it. I'm just bringing it to your attention. If you do, certainly take a look at it to follow up what's going on, because I'm letting you know this is not a good thing. What do we got here? Let me see in my notes. The Animal Farm. You folks out there that follow my news reports know that I'm very high on Animal Farm. Well, there were some big announcements. The biggest, and it's an investing and farming model that's going to be huge in the DeFi world. But they recently made a very, very big revision, and that's why it's being delayed for another couple days. Basically, you're now going to be farming your DRIP BUSD liquidity pairs for dogs, not for pigs. You're going to farm your DRIP BUSD LPs for dogs, and then you have to stake your dogs to then earn pigs. So it's basically one more step in the process, and there was a couple reasons behind it. The main thing is that they want to make it more difficult to get pigs, because they don't want people to just earn pigs directly with their DRIP BUSD LP and then just dump them. So that would hurt the value of pigs. So this is going to make pigs tougher to acquire, make pigs more valuable. And as I mentioned in prior videos, as you may know, pigs is the governance token. It's your share of the platform. It's your share of the ecosystem. If you own pigs and have them deposited or staked, if you will, then you're earning a percentage of all the yield generated from all the fees and taxes and everything else in the system. But the other thing is that there's going to be a tax when you deposit your LP, and then that tax is going to be used to buy DRIP. So it's going to hopefully pump the price of DRIP also. So it's twofold. Pigs are going to be tougher to get, and this is intended to pump the price of DRIP also. I'm still very high on Animal Farm. Obviously, do your own research, but it's something that's going to really boom. It's supposed to launch now on November 1st. And we're talking about a dev that's basically a perfectionist. So hopefully the site will be to his satisfaction, and this guy will launch it. There's currently a bunch of audits still being done. There's a private test net up where they forked Binance Smart Chain to just do their own private testing on it. So again, bottom line is hopefully this thing's going to go live on November 1st. I've got my assets sitting aside waiting to deposit and get rolling with it. But I'm just bringing you attention. That's the latest on that. That kind of brings you up to date on that one. What else do we got here in my notes? Bnbp has been great. Very successful launch. One of the big issues was the wheel. The wheel would spin and it would land on a color, identified to one of the bettors. But it turns out that what was really going on is it didn't matter which one it landed on. It's what the contract was picking. Basically, it wasn't in sync, is what I'm saying. Well, the developers knew about this. They've been notified of it. The site might have been down for a little bit, and they've corrected it, which is fantastic. So now when the wheel spins to whatever color is yours and it lands on you, you really did win. Because there was causing a lot of confusion. It would land on what you thought was you, but really the contract was picking somebody else internally, and that was the real winner. So it was still legitimate, don't get me wrong, but it was just confusing. And so now they fixed that. That's fantastic moving forward. There's going to be other games launching in the near future, so that's fantastic too. I know that they're having an issue with being able to log on with your cell phone and participate. So I know they're working on that also. I'll have to follow up and see if they fix that, but I know that they were working on it and we're aware of it. So let's hope that that got resolved too. One last quick comment. You folks may know that I'm pretty big into Hex. I see the price of Hex pumping, and I have a theory on why it's pumping. I think the Hex price is pumping because, as I've mentioned, as you may know in my prior news videos, there's going to be a big payday for Hedron, and Hedron is one of the derivatives built on top of Hex. And on Sunday, November 13th, is when all these defaulted HSI Hex stakes come due for auction. And that's a whole other story that I can get into later. But the bottom line is you want to have your Hedron staked. But you're going to be able to bid on these defaulted Hex stakes with Hedron. So what I think people are doing right now as they're building up towards that event is they're buying Hex, which is why Hex is going up. They're setting the maximum length Hex stake, which is 55 days, 5,555 days. And then they're selling it off to the HSI mechanism to then mint their Hedron in advance, to now have the Hedron available to bid on the defaulting Hex stakes. Hopefully all that makes sense. I know it's a mouthful. Bottom line is you're going to use Hedron to bid on these defaulted stakes starting on Sunday, November 13th. So they're buying Hex stakes, maxing them out, and then selling them off in the system to get them a maximum amount of Hedron to now have set on the sideline to be able to use to buy the previous defaulting stakes that are going to, Hex stakes that are becoming available. Hopefully all that makes sense, but the bottom line is that's why I think the price of Hex is going up. I also think that Hex is going to soar when pulsechain gets announced, the launch of pulsechain. Now, who knows when that's going to be, but again, we're going to get some type of notice. It's going to be blockchain such and such on Ethereum, or it's going to be launching on such and such a day. However they're going to give us notice, we're going to know. And I'm telling you folks, Hex is going to boom right up to that point before the snapshot, before the copy takes place, because you will indeed get just that, a copy of Hex onto pulsechain. So you want to have your Hex bags packed when this happens, and that's why people may want to start buying now, because when they announce this, Hex is going to soar. Trust me on this one. Anyway, again, not financial advice, my opinion, but that's how I'm playing it. Anyway, that gets you up to date on the latest things over the past few days on this past weekend. I'll get back to you folks in another couple of days as I have more news and info to report on you. Please click that like. Please hit that subscribe. And until next time.